And the way that I approach any investment in any room is I ask myself, is there a chance that I can get one thing from this? Like, what is that one thing? And I look for it. The type of person who wants to invest, who wants to connect, who has good ideas, who's had enough money and success that they want to invest, like that's the people that you want to be in the room with. But you don't want to delegate something that you have no clue what it is, whether it's advertising, whether it's sales. It's like I may actually delegate sales, and I'm slowly even delegating the selling part of my business, but thank goodness I invested in getting good at the thing before I offboarded the thing. Do you ever wonder how you should go about making the decision to decide what rooms you're going to invest in or what rooms you know you want to be a part of? That's been a question that I've honestly asked myself what feels like every week. I'm like, what's the next room? What's the next room? What should I learn? What skill do I not have? Like I am in this obsessively, I can't even express to you. I can't stop thinking about how I can invest in my business through growing the team, through honestly, even when I invest to be in rooms with other people, I'm like, that's an investment. Like I'm paying this person almost as a consultant in the business, which is team. So any room that I'm investing to be a part of, to me, that is growing the team because it's growing the input, growing the ideas. And so one of the things I'm going to share with you today is a room that I've recently invested in. And ultimately, there's this whole story. I cannot wait to share this with you, honestly, about so Kyle and I, we just got our first short-term rental. Okay. So we've got the short-term rental, and most people you would think are going to put that on VRBO, put it on Airbnb. We're not going to do that. And what I want to tell you is why we're not going to do that and why investing to be in certain rooms has led us to this decision, because there's a whole story here. So I'm really excited to share it with you. So, okay, let's go back. So Kyle and I we both have two businesses, right? So he has his in insurance and I have mine with the Paid Ads Academy. So it's all about empowering you, the entrepreneur, or your team to really win with paid advertising by bringing paid advertising in-house. So my team and I, we teach on Google, YouTube, Meta, TikTok, Pinterest, LinkedIn. Like we are going and growing and have invested in just the top experts to be able to empower you and your team to grow. So if you are a solo entrepreneur, what we do is we're working directly with you to be able to get you to a place where your revenue is so high that you can grow your team. And then for those of you that already have a team, it's almost like you can go do your thing, but understand ads on the strategy side and we'll train your team, right? So as I've grown this company, the only way I've gotten to where that is the mission, that is the vision, is through investing to be in different rooms. And so I have invested in a room for sales skills. I have invested into a room for video, like actual content creation and getting expert guidance from Adley, who is just so great at video. And then now I have recently made another investment, and that's the one I want to talk to you about. And then actually on the next episode, I'm going to talk to you about another investment that I've made. So this one, we're going to talk about short-term rental, investment property, and a little bit more behind the scenes why I'm deciding to do this. And then in the next episode, I'm going to talk to you about Alex Hormozy, and it's going to be really cool. About one of the things we're going to do in the next episode, so get excited, is I'm going to kind of deconstruct his $100 million day. And I'm going to talk to you about how and why I'm getting to meet him next week. So you're going to want to listen to this episode and the next one. It's going to be so good. And by the way, if you have not joined the Win with Paid Ads Challenge, click the link below this video so that you can learn how you and your team can really win with paid advertising. It is an incredible 5 days. It is the joy of my team and I for our month to be able to put this event on ever so often throughout the year. And depending on when you're listening to this, as I record this right now, there's actually only one more challenge for the entire rest of the year. So if you do listen to this and you click the link below, it could be the last one that we're doing for the year, which is going to be really cool. All right, so let's talk about the investment that we made, who it is, why it is, and this whole story. So here's where it started. So one of the rooms I invested to be in was with the sales girls, and I went to this mastermind event. In mastermind, you think master of the mind. It's like all these different brilliant brains coming together. And I love being on Zoom. And also there's something so special about being in person. And so that's one of the things that I love about my mastermind and the masterminds I'm a part of, is I love being able to be there for the in-person piece. So we went to this place, and it was called Sweet Honey Farm. And Sweet Honey Farm is owned by this guy named Devin Levesque. And he owns this company called ProMix. And if you think about advertising, like I want you to go Google ProMix right now, and I want you to go look at all those shopping ads, Google ads, and the retargeting ads you're about to get from ProMix. It's extremely well advertised. And it's so funny. All these companies that are just doing so well. I'm like, man, their advertising is killing it, right? Yes, I took those products this morning. It was so good. I'm going to see if there's an affiliate link and I'll put it below this because I'm loving these products. Anyway, what matters is the guy that owns this place. It's called Sweet Honey Farm. It's where we did our mastermind event with this other group that I was a part of. And the way that I approach any investment in any room is I ask myself, is there a chance that I can get one thing from this, right? And the way my brain has like been rewired to work is it is absolutely positively impossible for me to not get something valuable out of being in a room with someone who has done something that I haven't. So I've always got my eyes on. I'm like, what is that one thing? And I look for it. And now, I've told myself, if I train my brain to look for the one thing that I can learn from this one person, this one time, I always end up with like 10, 15, 20. But what I do is I look for this one thing. And so the thing that I found from this mastermind event is you can't achieve something you absolutely, like your brain doesn't actually know is possible. And so what I found is if you tell your brain and you show your brain where, it honestly, I think it's actually more about your heart. If you show your heart like what you want to accomplish, your brain will actually figure out a way to get there. It's really cool. And so my heart like experienced this like just love for this family-owned business on this farm. Everything that we ate was fresh eggs. It was fresh milk. It was this entrepreneur's like paradise. It's actually, Sweet Honey Farm is only for entrepreneurs. And it was the first time I was like, I've never been somewhere where it's just entrepreneurs. I'm like, I was sitting in the red light sauna and I'm like, hey, there's this guy sitting there. And I was like, hey, so what do you do? He's like, yeah, I just own a bunch of gyms. I'm like, you own a bunch of gyms? He's like, oh yeah, we're scaling. I'm going to probably have 20 gyms. I've got all these teammates. I'm like, this is the most thrilling conversation because this person right here has something so big and they have all these dreams. It's like when your heart gets surrounded by people that are doing other big things, it is like, you just love where you are. Like I love being able to be challenged with new ideas, new vision. And so I was like, this environment was in this farm. It was peaceful. It had all these things where you're taking care of yourself, but you're exposed to just these different people doing different things. And it's almost like there's this common ground. Like everybody knows that everyone they see is doing something really, really big with their life and they're going and they're growing. And so I was sitting there in the sauna and I was like, I'm just happy here. And so I was like, this is where I'm going, okay? I was like, I want to create something like this, like that seed got planted. So I could have never created something from something I'd never experienced. Like, that's why you have to go experience things. You need to just pay money, go somewhere you've never been, and like, it starts to create this identity, and you're like, is this the new version of me? Like, I can create these new things anyway. So that seed was planted there. And so it's crazy. I went to this mastermind event, and it's about sales, and I'm like, I wonder what I'm going to learn about sales. And what I learned was you can create an environment curated to a group of people, and where you're bringing people together who have similar goals and ambitions. So I was like, I never thought I would like a farm this much. Like, it was absolutely amazing. So I looked for my one thing, and the thing that I got was this vision for something I could create down the line, right? So I'm at this farm, and one of the things that I know about entrepreneurs, one thing I've struggled with is like taking care of me. I'm obsessed with my clients and what I do. We had a VIP day yesterday, and I'm like, I just love this so much. I love the work that I get to do. I love showing up on these Zoom calls. I'm just loving getting to watch these entrepreneurs be found for what they do. And what I realized was being able to advertise anything. Like, even just sitting there, I'm like, advertising a farm. I'd never thought about advertising a farm, but I'm like, this could be really, really cool. And so I was at this event, we were in person, and my brain was opened up to these new things. So anyway, this is the foundation for where I'm going as we go through these next rooms. So after being at Sweet Honey Farm and experiencing, like, getting to be around other people who are doing different things, one of the conversations that I had in the room was with the guy. So this guy Devin owns it. Well, he has a general manager that is like kind of running the property. Okay. So we're walking back in. It's like the end of the trip. We're walking back in. We're about to just go have coffees, and then we're going to leave. And we see this guy, and they're setting up for this big event. And apparently Sarah Blakely's husband, I think his name is Jesse Itzler. I think I'm getting this right. And they were like, yeah, Jesse Itzler. And they're having this big party here at the farm tomorrow, 300 people at the farm. And I see this, it was I think it was like it was a food truck. And then there was this other like mobile, like, You're going to laugh. It's like a mobile porta potty thing, but it was like really, really nice. Had like all these cool speakers on it. The outside of it was really cool. And so we saw this guy and we were like, hey, it's great to meet you. He was like, hey, who are y'all? We're like, oh, we just own some businesses. We're just here for mastermind. We're about to leave. And he stopped us. We have a short conversation with him. We're just asking about, I'm over here commenting on the advertising of the truck, right? I'm like, this is so well done. Why did you start this? And I want to remind you that you get in rooms not for the information you will learn sometimes. Sometimes it's for, number one, for you to experience something you've never experienced before, just to show you that's possible. Number two, it could be for connections you made. We ended up getting the phone number of this guy. And the reason that he was confident giving his phone number to me and Macy, we were standing there, is because we did one thing. We were so curious. We were like, tell me a little bit more about why. And I was giving him ideas. And your generosity, so it starts with curiosity, but if you start with curiosity and offer generosity, you know what you're going to get? Reciprocity. So here's what happened. I was curious about him. I gave him ideas. And then he was like, okay, so what can I do for you? Let's talk about this. And that's not the first time that's happened to me. When you start with just really caring about that person, you know how it feels. We've talked about this before. It's like, you know, when someone's just asking you to get by with the conversation, it's small talk, which those of you that know me, I like hate small talk. I'm like, I don't want small talk. I want real talk. Let's talk about real cool things and go deeper. And so by offering someone that generosity of you saying, oh, well, here's how I could help you, that it's like that human nature. It's like, well, now what can I offer you in return? And so it's not just about what you'll learn. It's about the people and the connections you'll make, because when you pay to be in rooms, what does that mean for you? It means you're getting in the room with people who pay to be in rooms. The type of person who wants to invest, who wants to connect, who has good ideas, who's had enough money and success that they want to invest. Like, that's the people that you want to be in the room with. And so many of my clients, they come in and they want to learn about advertising, and they do, and they win, and it's amazing. And also doors open and they're like, oh my gosh, I just made this connection and got to this podcast and met this friend. You've got to pay to get in rooms. So no matter what, I'm committing to myself and to my clients, because I want my clients to not only get so much value for a year, I want them to be like, I want to stay in this. Like, I'm getting value beyond the ads. Like, this is business strategy. This is connections. This is so much more than that. And if I, as the leader of this company, continue to invest in my brain, what does that mean for my clients and you? It means that every podcast episode, every coaching call, every in-person event, you're getting a new and improved and newly educated and connected version of Ashley. And so that's what you get to create for your clients. That's what I get the opportunity to do, is continuously and relentlessly learn so that I can earn quicker. Someone else has already been where you want to go. And I am obsessed with saying, how can I pick what that next move is? And so anytime I tell myself, well, that's not my zone of genius, like, I hear that all the time. People are like, oh, that's not my zone of genius. I'm like, so they're like, so I don't need to do that. Someone else should do that. It's fine for you to delegate. And also, like, there's so much power in you learning and being a part of that room. And then yes, you can confidently delegate, but you don't want to delegate something that you have no clue what it is, whether it's advertising, whether it's sales. It's like, I may actually delegate sales, and I'm slowly even delegating the selling part of my business. But thank goodness I invested in getting good at the thing before I offboarded the thing. Like, I need to know so that I can better manage the person that's doing the sales. Same thing for you with advertising. You may say, well, I want someone on my team to do it. Good. Be able to confidently lead and manage that person and not get taken advantage of because of your lack of knowledge. That's why investing in skills and saying, how much quicker can I pull my future forward? And it's not just your future, it is your future revenue and pulling that forward. So one connection changed everything. So that's the first seed that was planted. So now let's talk about another room that I invested in and how this all kind of snowballed. So went in, had the mastermind, met this person, experienced this different environment, was really thrilled by it, made a different connection. And then I went to a short-term rental workshop. So I'll put the link below this video. But one place that you know that Kyle and I love is Bolt Farm. And so we went there on our anniversary, and I'll never forget when we first went to Bolt Farm for our anniversary, it was the most I'd ever paid for a room ever. And I sat there on that checkout button, I swear, for days. I was like, am I going to click buy? Am I going to click buy? I'm like, who is paying at the time? It was like $700 or $800 a night for this room. I'm like, am I a crazy person? Like, that's how my brain was. I was like, this is absolutely insane. And I experienced it. And here's what I experienced. That money, I was so happy to exchange for the experience that I had. I'm like, that was an experience of a lifetime. So again, seeds being planted in my brain of how people will pay for something that is different, because you're not paying for a place to sleep. Like, you're paying for an experience. And same thing with Sweet Honey. I'm like, I'm paying, but for an experience. It was so interesting. And so I remember staying there and I thought, wow, I wonder what it takes to build this. But that was the first time. Well, then we went a second time and a third time and a fourth time. And every time the price went up and every time we were happy to pay it. And it was because the experience was so special. So again, getting my brain conditioned to this thought that I probably shared with you before if you've listened to other episodes, but you will attract the type of buyer that you are. And so often with your advertising, some of my clients, they're struggling with their ads and they're like, I don't know why I can't like get someone to buy this thing. It's this price. I'm like, well, are you struggling to pay pay for value, but you want other people to pay for your value? So I've gotten into this like thing in my brain. It's all this crazy stuff that I tell my brain. I'm like, you have to be the person that sees value and pays for it in anything. And so I'm working on that, but it's like growing up, maybe you feel the same way. We're so used to being scared to put the money out for the value that it's like a habit. I'm unbreaking myself saying, no, this is valuable. I've got to pay for it. Even though my inclination is like, I really need this. I don't know. But it's training your brain. And so after going to Bolt Farm over and over again, I want to learn how they did it. And so one thing that we've had the opportunity to do in the company, which is what I want for you and your business as you grow it, is to have so much income that you've got to offset that active income with something else. And so we, after meeting with our tax strategy team, actually our tax strategist, she's actually a client. She has an incredible 8-figure tax strategy business. And so we were meeting with Barbara and your team at your tax coach. They're fantastic, helped us save hundreds of thousands of dollars in taxes. And they were talking about how like you have all this revenue in business, but you don't get to keep it, right? It's like you're either going to pay it in taxes or you're going to do something with it. And so that's where we had this conversation. They were like, you need to offset your income, your active income. And so we needed short-term rental, investment property. And so I was like, okay, well, after experiencing Bolt Farm, after experiencing Sweet Honey Farm, I want to create something with this short-term rental that is a better experience than just a normal Airbnb or VRBO. And obviously, as with Ashley would do, we have to advertise this thing. And so what I'm not going to do is put it on Airbnb and VRBO. So if I was going to have this mission where I want to advertise directly to the property, and why do I not want to do Airbnb and VRBO? Because they take like 20% of your revenue. I'll have to look the exact amount. But I'm like, why would you put it on Airbnb and VRBO if they're going to take 20% of your fees? What if you just take that 20% number and advertise it? Right? Because think about this. This is so insane. Like if you have your property on Airbnb or VRBO and you're paying 20% fee, every time someone books at your property on Airbnb, you're going to pay that same fee over and over and over again. Well, what if you took the same amount you would pay in a fee and use that as advertising to acquire the customer? Well, then the next time that person books, you're not paying the fees to Airbnb and VRBO. I just wanted to remind you really quickly that if you haven't joined the Win with Paid Ads Challenge, the doors are closing soon. And just as a refresher, this is 5 days of you and or someone on your team learning my 5-part strategy to scale your paid ads. So day 1 is messaging, which is what you say and how you say it. Day 2 is setting, which is all the different places you can place your ads. Think Google ads versus YouTube, Meta, or TikTok. Day 3 is targeting, which is how you can get in front of your exact right person. Day 4 is testing, so you can know what to test and how to improve your ads. And day 5 is scaling and profiting and how you can 10x whatever you're spending on your ads now so that you can have more profit and return and impact, which is ultimately what you want, right? So click the link below and I cannot wait to see you in the Win with Paid Ads Challenge. Think about your total price of a listing. Let's say that your average nightly rate is going to be $200. Well, 10% of that would be $20. So 20% would be $40. So let's say that maybe it costs you 50% for that fee. And that's just for one night. And say they do multiple nights. Just imagine, close your eyes for just a minute. If you're driving, don't write this down. But if you really think about it, in fact, I'm actually going to pull up my calculator. Let's do some math together. Say you have a property and say you want to charge $400 a night and your average nightly, say on average, you book 3 nights at a time. That's $1,200. Well, let's pretend that Airbnb takes 20% of that. That's $240. What if instead you spent $240 on advertising to get one client. Or let's pretend you end up having to spend double that and it's $500 to acquire $1,200. But your experience at your property is so stinking good. Not only did the people who booked rebook, and you're not having to pay that fee to Airbnb or VRBO, you're keeping that, right? You paid one time through advertising to acquire the customer, and you get repeat customers. God forbid they love it so much they post on social media, and then now that you got another booking for free. And it's direct to you, and you're not having to pay that fee. There is magic right now to advertising directly on the property. And so when I think about Bolt Farm, what does Bolt Farm do? They're 100% direct to site. You can't book on any other place. So I'm over here thinking, okay, I've experienced what it's like to pay more and they're keeping more. You could do this. And here's what I want you to do. I want you to come along on this journey with me as we start our first property. Because when you listen to this podcast 5 years from now, we're going to talk about this like insane thing that we've built because it's going to happen. So come along on the journey and get to see all the behind the scenes. But all of these being in these different rooms has added up to being in a place where I'm like, I know that we can advertise this direct to booking, like directly to the site. And we can make this one property an example for a future property and a future thing that we built. So after seeing and experiencing Bolt Farm, charging what nobody else does and advertising directly to site and me seeing how good their advertising was, I was like, okay, I want to learn from these people. So I went to this workshop and the workshop itself was $5,000 a person to attend. So Kyle and I paid $10,000 toward, it's so funny, the business of this new short-term rental property has zero in revenue. All we're doing is paying a mortgage. There's no bookings, right? And then we're like, oh, let's pay $10,000 on a business that has literally -0 in revenue right now to learn something. That's the crazy brain thought I have is I'm like, I know that they have built something that is so successful. And I know that just one mistake that I avoid with construction, with picking the property, with the land, with the investment, with what we do with it, could save me more than $10,000. So even though there's no active income, there's no income coming from this short-term rental side of the business, I'm like, well, let's pay money and just invest and learn from a mentor because you will save or make that money. And oftentimes it's both. You not only save money on mistakes you would have made, same thing with advertising, but you make money by knowing what to do sooner. And so that is what they do. It's what I do in my business. It's brilliant. So of course, Kyle and I went up there, we attended the workshop, got our $10,000 of value. And then we're also like, hey, what a perfect time as we've just invested in this to learn from experts. So that's really where we are. So the property that we've invested in, just so you know, I would love for you to be one of the first people to stay. And there's 2 things I'm going to do below this video that I'd love your input on. So we ended up finding this 3-bedroom place in a cute little house. And it's actually a newer build. Like it's new in the past couple of years. So it's a new build. It is 10 minutes from downtown Blue Ridge. And the reason we like this, so here's why we picked this property and what this property is about. So this property is 3 bedrooms. And we got really lucky because we offered substantially less than it was listed for. And we said, also, we would like the lot beside it included, and we would like it fully furnished. And so at the beginning, the buyers were like, I don't know if this is going to be the right move for us. And we were like, no problem, we understand. Because we weren't in a place where we had to have this property. We wanted it, but we were like, we'll find the right one. God will like bring us the right property. And it turns out they were like, you know what? Yeah, it's perfect. You can have the lot. And it'll be fully furnished. And we ended up getting less than it was listed, which was really nice. So the math was mathing. And so we got this property. And so what I'm going to do, just so you know, Robert, my videographer, I'll link to Robert below the video. I know Robert's excited. He's listening to this like, what? Yeah, because he's amazing. So I'll link to Robert below this video. Here's what we're going to do. Robert is going to meet me at this property. And we're going to get like his drone and I'm going to pretend I'm a real estate agent for a minute. I'm going to like, come along inside this 3-bedroom, beautiful home in Blue Ridge, Georgia. And so I want to show you like what it looks like now because we worked with Jess, who I'll also link below. And she is redesigning, her and her team are redesigning the whole interior. So we're buying all this furniture. So here's like the process that's happening. Robert's going to come record it. Jess is designing it. My executive assistant is ordering all the furniture. We're consulting with the Bolt Farm team on anything else we should do to make it so nice. So we might be adding like a cold plunge or a sauna or a thing, like something cool about it. In fact, below this video, I'm going to put a link to a survey. And I want you to just respond to the survey and say, if you were going to pay more than every other place in downtown Blue Ridge, what would you want this place to be? What would you want it to have? What extra things would you want to make you happy to pay the extra? Like if you're like, why is this 3-bedroom $500 a night, $600 a night when everything else is $200. Like, what would you actually want to experience and feel to make it worth it? That's what I want you to, what I want to know. So we'll put a link below this video. And then something we're going to do, just so you know, or below the podcast, is for those of you that, like, I want your feedback. And so what we're going to do, this is my whole plan. And I learned this from this other mastermind. So I didn't just make this up. You're like, Ashley had this great idea. No, Ashley pays to be in rooms with other people who have good ideas so that she can learn from those ideas. So here's what I want to do. The first 20 of you, the first 20 bookings that we get, we're going to do a discounted rate in exchange for some feedback. And so it's coming, and I want to build what you want. In fact, no matter what it is in your business, build something you know people want. Create the course you know people want. Buy the product you know people want. So that's why I want your feedback. And then I want to offer like a special incentive for you to go and experience this once it's all ready and give us feedback so that we can make it better. So at a certain point, when this video, it may not be when this video initially launches or this podcast airs, but eventually what we'll do is we'll put a link below this video for you to reserve your deposit for the first 20 people to get feedback. It's going to be so cool. But I want to create what you want. So that's why we'll have the survey. It's going to be really cool. So here's what's happening. Last few things behind the scenes. I just want to give you the process of what we're going through. So for tax purposes, in order for us to be able to use this as a tax advantage for us with where we're at, Kyle has to be a rep. A rep is a real estate professional. And he has to qualify as a real estate professional. That doesn't mean he's a realtor. Doesn't mean he has to do a real estate exam. What he has to do is put 100 hours in this property by the end of the year, and his 100 hours have to be the most than anybody else who's on the property. So if you think about that, if you had a cleaning person who is doing the cleaning services, they can't be on the property more than the 100 hours in order for him to qualify as a real estate professional, okay? I am not a tax person and doing tax advice. But what I am saying is I know that he has to do rep status. So he has to put 100 hours. We have to have at least 2 nights before the end of this year so that it has an average nightly rate, because an average is of 2 things, right? So to qualify as an average, it has to have at least 2 bookings. So our goal is to get this property up by the end of the year and for it to be just the coolest Airbnb that's not on Airbnb that you've experienced, which is going to be really cool. So that's our behind the scenes plan. I'm going to advertise it. You've got me right now. I'm refusing to put this thing on Airbnb and VRBO, which means until then I'm going to be paying for a mortgage, paying for a website, paying for an advertising, paying for a designer, and putting all this money out before there's money in. And that is what creates successful businesses. It is saying, I am going to pay because I anticipate that the result's going to be great. I anticipate this thing's going to be so booked and be like, and there's going to be this article, like I see it now. It's like this article, and it's like random cabin, 3-bedroom, charges double than any other average that's 10 minutes from downtown Blue Ridge. Why? How does that happen? And it's like, because the experience isn't like anything you've seen. That's what I want to create. And so many of you, I think you're racing to the bottom to say, how will people buy your thing? By paying the least. I'm like, no, how can we make the best thing and just charge the most so that the experience, people are happy to pay and come back? By the way, as an advertisement for this property, I just want you to know it is 8 minutes from Lake Blue Ridge, super cute, and 10 minutes from downtown Blue Ridge, where there are all these restaurants, the cutest little coffee shop, a railroad. They do cool things for Christmas. So this is what we're building. We're going to see how it goes. I can't wait to take you along for the journey. And just remember, all these little things, all the investments you make, all the rooms that you get in, they stack up and they add up. Ads add up, and so do the investments that you make in your business. It's so funny. Someone was asking me, she was like, I really want to jump into the mastermind, but I have these other investments. I'm like, yeah, I am in 4 masterminds right now. And thank goodness, because I'm getting the best, most strategic information from all 4, and it's all coming together as we think about advertising this property. So I hope that was helpful to encourage you that, number 1, getting in the rooms is always worth it. Like always. And I don't say always and never, like generously. I really believe you can't make a bad decision, because every decision allows you to get informed of a future decision that you will or will not make in the future. So I want to encourage you, get in the rooms, make the investment, and I can't wait for you to be along for the journey. And by the way, if you have an Airbnb property and you're like, I want to learn how to advertise that, you are exactly who the Win with Paid Ads Challenge was created for. So click the link below this video, join the challenge. I cannot wait to see you. And I can't wait to share with you about another room I invested in with Alex Hormozy. We'll deconstruct his $100 million day on the next episode. I'll see you soon.